Hey guys, this is Awesome John 22 coming at you today with another review. Today we are looking at my good friend Drift, a deluxe class from the Transformers Age of Extinction toy line. And yeah, let's get this thing started right by getting him transformed up through the power of jump cuts. And here we have Drift in his vehicle mode. I'm not sure what kind of car this is, but I just want to point out first and foremost that I absolutely love this vehicle mode. It's just gorgeous. Between the really nice royal blue and the great, what do you call that, aqua green, which has a metallic kind of finish to it. It's just absolutely gorgeous. And silver rims and silver headlights and even silver taillights. The paint on this guy is minimalistic because most of it is actually the plastic color, but it's done so effectively. I just can't get over it. So much better than the paint job on a lot of the other deluxes in this line. Absolutely beautiful. I'm not sure what kind of car this is. I believe there was an old Cybertron figure that had the same alt mode, or at least a very similar one. So it's not new to Transformers or anything. I just don't know what it is. It's very nice though. Very nice looking car. You know, kind of hinting of the brand detail there, which is kind of nice. Really like it. It's a little small though, which is my first of two problems with it. First of all, here he is with a Wavemate, his Dinobot mount. You can see they're about the same size, and I mentioned that our good friend Slug over here is kind of on the smallish side. Now, from what I understand, this guy is actually based on the IDW Drift, and I want to point out first and foremost, I never really cared to own the original figure of that character. I don't really follow the IDW comics except, you know, peripherally, and so the character didn't really hold any interest for me. There were plenty of other characters at the time that I was more interested in owning figures of. So I can't compare him to that figure. I did, however, pick up the eventual blur, remold, and repaint. Remolding is very, very minimal. It's just the head, and which kind of qualifies it as retool, I guess. Rather, so it's an apt comparison, as Drift would have been the same size. You can see he is much larger than Age of Extinction Drift. Much larger. Just in terms of scale, like they're just very out of scale cars. But I do think that this figure looks better than the old images. Take him out of the way. The old images I saw of the IDW Drift. He just looks more exotic, more samurai-esque, especially when we get to his robot mode in just a moment. I do want to point out there is one other issue I have with this mode, and that is this top panel here. That it is just very, very loose. It comes out of there very, very easily. But as long as you don't mess with it, it lays just fine, and it isn't really noticeable that it's loose. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. And just progress with the review. Moving on to his transformation. We're going to start by taking the doors and pulling them out, which, as you can see, frees up the arms. Then we're going to take these bits and just kind of bring them down, just like so. You can see, just like that. It does make a difference. It's actually a very important step. Next, we're going to take the back and we're just going to kind of lift it, get it out of the way. And this gives me a chance to point out, first of all, he does have weapon storage on the bottom of the car. Forgot to mention that. For his large swords, and he has it under the roof of the car for his small swords, his knives. And I do really like that. I think it's nice, giving him a lot of weapons, but also giving places to put them. A lot of figures don't do that anymore, and I appreciate that this one does. So lift this up, kind of leave it right there, floating. Now we're going to come here. We're going to rotate these panels up, and rotate these bits in, and then bring these back down as far as they'll go, which it seems they already are. Then we're going to come here, and we're going to split this. Put it on camera for you. We're going to split this, like so. Then we're going to bring these black panels up, as feet. Then we're going to come and rotate this back panel, which will give us clearance to fold this in like so, and rotate it around like so. Remove his swords from his chest, where they actually have molded slots to fit the guard of the sword, which is kind of cool. And we're going to come up here, and what I like to do now is just wiggle free his knives and then move them up to these peg holes here, which is usually where I like to sheath them in robot mode. But this isn't actually part of the transformation, it's just me being picky. Next we're going to rotate this back like so, and it'll sit flush with the other roof panel like that. Bring this part up, and bring this down. Bring his head up, rotate it around. Bring these panels up into place. And then back here, you can see this bit we brought up has a hole in it, and there's a tab right there. It just slots onto the tab. And then we're gonna straighten out his legs, and that's it. There's Drift in his robot mode. In robot mode, Drift is just absolutely cool. He looks pretty much dead on his movie character model, with this really nice Shogun samurai headpiece and helmet, and these really cool like armor plating details on his arm and legs, which are again that beautiful metallic aqua blue. You can see details of his car mode in the chest, and that is actually the front of the car, as you saw from Transformation, which I think is very cool. They could have very easily cheated and not utilized that additional piece, but they didn't, and I appreciate that a lot. He's got great posability, very little, because these are attached to his arm and not his shoulders. They don't hamper articulation. He has ratchets in his elbows, and rotation just above the elbow, and some in and out movement in the wrist for all that's worth. Ball jointed head, no waist articulation, but he does have ratcheted hips, rotation above the knee, and then very limited knee movement, but it's enough that it works. There is one issue with his articulation though. His legs do move together, though they also move separately. It's just an issue of excess friction between the two parts. So I don't really pay that much attention to it. In all honesty, it just annoys me slightly. As another size comparison, here we have him with Blur. You can see still quite a size difference. Pretty staggeringly obvious that this is from an older line when figures were still a bit bigger. However, I don't mind it too much. They are completely different aesthetics, so even if they were the same size, they wouldn't look right together anyway. And overall, I think that this new Drift just looks so much more dynamic than all the images I saw of the IDW version of Drift that was released in the Generations line way back. He just looks so much more samurai, and I just, for some reason, I'm really drawn to this aesthetic. I really like it. As an additional size comparison, here he is with another wave mate. Our good friend Strafe I believe we did him in our last review. You can see they're about the same size. Drift is actually just a bit taller, which is kind of nice. And of course, Drift can hold his weapons. He has these two gold plastic swords. Whether or not these succumb to gold plastic syndrome is yet to be known, but I'm a little wary of them being flexed too often, though they are relatively flexy plastic. But they do fit in his hands and they look nice. I do wish we had gotten another color painted gold like his faceplate, though, because one, it would have better matched his faceplate. You can see his faceplate is actual gold paint with shininess and glossiness and everything. Does he have light piping? I don't know if he has light piping or not. I can't tell. Yeah, he does have a little bit of light piping. That's cool. Whereas his weapons, as you can see, are just this gold plastic, and it doesn't look as good as it could, though it doesn't look bad by any stretch either. And I think with his two swords out, kind of posed and held at the ready. He looks even better. And so yeah, guys, I absolutely recommend Drift. I think he's a fantastic figure. For a deluxe class figure, he might be a bit small, but that's really par for the course anymore, and I've said before, I don't fault Hasbro on things like that. Cost cutting is important nowadays. So, absolutely recommend picking this guy up. I understand his odd aesthetic with the faceplate instead of a more alien face like some of the other Bayverse Transformers. Might be a little put-offish to some people, but I absolutely recommend at least giving him a look in the store. He's just a good figure. His transformation back to vehicle mode can be a bit frustrating due to that loose back panel I mentioned earlier. But after a couple of attempts, it's not an issue anymore. And his transformation overall, especially his transformation into robot mode, is very pleasant and very interesting in a couple spots, especially with these shoulder plates. And I think he's absolutely a satisfying purchase, and at least should be considered for anyone's collection. And that's pretty much it for this review. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like, subscribe, leave a comment down below if you feel so inclined. In the description below, you will find a link to my blog as well as to my collections video. If you see anything in that collections video that you would like me to review, let me know and I'll see what I can do. You will also find a new link down there to my Twitter, where I twit all my tweets, where you can follow me. And once I actually have a couple followers, and it isn't a waste of my time, I will start posting their updates to my review schedule as well as upcoming reviews. And yeah, so until next time, this has been Awesome John 22, and I will talk to you guys later.